guys, so welcome back. I know I've been teasing this for a while, but it's here. We are finally doing the AMBW interviews again. I'm going back to sort of the old way of recording the interviews over Zoom. So for now, I will not be doing the live stream events or anything like that. Everything will be pre-recorded. Um, but today I have a very special guest with me. A lot of you might recognize, or sorry, a lot of you will recognize, judging by the few counts on the short films, this man right here. He is an actor. But like I said, as customary in the AMBW interviews, before I go any further, I like to let the guests talk about and introduce themselves. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Chris Truong, aka C Trizzy on YouTube. I am a part-time actor, but I'm also a firefighter in real life. So that's what I do when I'm not busy, doing these awesome videos with Marty.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And so yeah, like you said, we've worked together a couple times in the short films. And so again, sort of just really taking the time really briefly to address the audience part right now. I again want to thank you guys for watching, and please continue to watch short films and as well as these interviews. It's really important, especially if we want this channel to continue to be operating and all that stuff. So it's fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's fun doing all this stuff for you guys, but it's only gonna work if you guys continue to watch and support. So please keep supporting, please keep watching all this content, and I will continue to pump it up. Okay, so getting to the interview. It's sort of just kind of going out of order here. I know that you just mentioned that you are a firefighter, which
Yeah.
I've actually known for a while. But why don't you, before we get into the acting and dating stuff, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think I've wanted to be a firefighter now ever since I was in high school. My age, I think I'm 27 years old now. So I think ever since I was 18, it was like something that I kind of always maybe wanted to do, but I didn't get to it right away. So I was kind of messing around in college for a couple of years, wasted a little bit of time before I finally said, "Hey mom, I don't want to be a dentist. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to like be a firefighter. I want to run into burning buildings and save people." And then that's when she was like, "You want to do what?" So yeah, she was like so surprised when I first dropped out, but she's really happy for me now. Like she couldn't be prouder of being a firefighter.
Yeah, and that sounds really awesome. Me personally, I don't know a whole lot about that area. I don't have any relatives or anyone close to me that is a firefighter. So you are one of the first people that I've talked to about that more in depth. So like I just said, the most that I know is mostly from, like, obviously go figure, film and TV. So like one of my favorite shows, it sort of goes to show my age or whatever, is Rescue Me, and that was
Oh
from Dennis
yeah.
Leary. And
Mhm.
so I've always wanted to ask someone this, and now I have the opportunity to do so. So I'm assuming that you're familiar with the show. Have you actually like watched it a lot, or?
I don't like watch it religiously. I think I've watched a couple of episodes in passing. But yeah.
Okay. So, but from what you've seen and what you've read and all that stuff, how accurate is that show's portrayal of firefighters?
That show specifically, it's hit or miss. Most firefighting shows in general, it's hard to like accurately depict what it's like in real life, because in real life it's all smoky. You're not gonna be able to see everyone's like beautiful, like Hollywood looking faces. You see that all the time nowadays, like on Chicago fire department, and all the other ones where they're in the middle of the fire's burning all across the room, they're wearing the mask, but you can still see their faces because like the smoke isn't like obscuring it. And that's not really accurate. In a real life fire, I put my hand right in front of my face, I can't even see it, like that's how bad it can be sometimes. So it's a lot of these things, and they're always make them a little bit more dramatic too. You're not getting like back-to-back fire calls, 911 calls for rescue situations back and forth. It's like more spread across. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was always wondering that, and I know Hollywood does like to, take certain creative liberties in order to make something, more commercial, or what I mean, anything like just sell more tickets, basically. I can definitely pick out just off the top of my head. I'm not even a firefighter, but I can pick out something that is fake as fuck.
right.
Like it's called Collateral Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I mean immediately anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger, you just know it's gonna be like full of shit and just like completely Hollywood, Hollywood bastardized version of everything. But I love that movie though. Like I do. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and everyone who has not seen that movie, completely unrelated, go check it out. It's called Collateral Damage. He plays a firefighter. It's completely stupid and retarded, but it's like in a fun way. So anyway, sorry. So getting back on track. Well, that's great, man. Thank you. Thank you for enlightening us. You know, what I mean, informing the audience a little bit more about your daily routine. In your career in firefighting. And again, thank you for all your service and all that stuff. No, it's a very dangerous profession, so we all thank you for that. But I also want to sort of getting off tangent or getting back on tangent. So acting wise, a part of the reason why I want to do these interviews is because there aren't a whole lot of let me say this representation when it comes to people that look like you and me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's getting a little bit better. It is getting a little bit better. I'm not gonna say something negative without acknowledging the positive as well. It is getting a little bit better with movies like Shang-Chi, right, which just came out, which is a big hit. And if you guys watching at home, you have not seen it, what are you doing with your lives? Go out and pay a full price for it. Don't download it, torrent it. It's great. It's amazing. But it's movies like that, and it's also movies like Crazy Rich Asians. And I mean, I can't, on the top of my head, I can't really think of anything right now, which is kind of sad. But it's movies like those that I feel like are sort of breaking down barriers for actors of color.
Right.
And again, sort of, I know I keep referencing, but I want to say is actors of color. I'm not just talking about black actors. Okay, everyone thinks that people of color just include black people only. That's not necessarily true. It includes
all
Asians,
rainbows.
exactly, Asians, Hispanics. Basically, if you're not white, you're a person of color. So it's like
That's pretty much it. That's the
yeah,
definition.
exactly. So that is what we're talking about here. And like I said, reason why I want to do this series is because I enjoy, along with making short films, I enjoy sort of showcasing actors of color such as yourself, right? And to me, you're not a quote unquote actor of color, you're just another actor, right? I mean, just in general, I treat people like that. But I feel like on a more general, broad note, actors such as yourself who are not white, Caucasian, are acknowledged like that. And they're often pigeonholed, especially when it comes to, big like Hollywood films, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even in movies like, Shang-Chi, like, yeah, it's positive representation, but it's also still very stereotypical. And I know I've talked to you about that as well. And I have my own issues with it, but overall, I found it really entertaining. But I wanted to get your opinion on that, and also your experiences in general with acting, and what I mean, potentially maybe being stereotyped or pigeonholed. I'd like to think that my short films that we've done so far don't, they kind of steer away from that and aren't necessarily as stereotypical. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experiences with that? Like, are they more positive or negative?
Yeah, I think you're right in what you're saying. Like, hey, right now things are getting better for people like us, like Asian actors in the industry right now. We're seeing stuff like Shang-Chi, we're seeing stuff like Crazy Rich Asians. But at the end of the day, it seems like Hollywood, for some reason, always defaults to like these two basic stereotypical Asian characters. You have your martial arts Bruce Lee kicking expert, right? Like Shang-Chi, right? Like Jackie Chan. Or you have your very like nerdy, dorky Asian like character that's almost like the masculine, right? Like Ken Jeong, right? It's like two ends of the spectrum. Either you're some sort of like martial arts expert or you're a fucking nerd, right? There's no in between. So I think hopefully now in this current era, we're trying to stray away from more from that. We're going to see more a little bit of just the regular average Joe character, right? So I think I was talking about this before in my podcast, but maybe like more like a Randall Park character where he's Asian, but it's not like that big of a deal with his identity, right? It's just he still happens to be Asian. He's very relatable. He's like almost like a dad character. So we're starting to see more of that, which is what I think is best for us moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sort of what you just said right now just sort of got me thinking. Even in movies like oh, actually, never mind. Sorry. So, I forgot. No, that point doesn't really make sense. But no, absolutely. I feel like that's what for me especially. I'm more behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy.
Mhm.
I don't enjoy. I'm not an actor at all, so I've never tried to act. I've never put myself out there like that. But you do, right? So
Right.
that's what you do, and that's what that's your passion. One of your passions in life. So but I imagine, like you just said, that's what you're fighting for is just normalcy, right? In the entertainment industry, just to be portrayed, basically to be cast in roles that don't necessarily, like on the call sheet or script, don't specify your ethnicity or your race or whatever. They just
Yeah, exactly.
general, you know what I mean? They're not like Asian specific, just like, like a role is not, black specific or, like Latino or white, whatever. Because while the landscape of Hollywood is changing, it's changing very, very slowly, very, very fucking slow, almost to the point where it's basically there's just like you don't notice anything because I mean there's not a whole lot. not yet anyway. But that's one thing that I'm fighting for too, is not just exposure for myself or whatever, but it's also because yeah, there is an audience for the type of content that we've been creating together so far, and people seem to enjoy that. And like I said, one of my goals with that is just to portray Asian guys as just normal guys. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's called AMBW, which stands, again, if everyone watching this, I'm sure it stands for Asian men, Black women. But at the same time, these aren't like stereotypical roles. Like the Black women
Right.
aren't portrayed in a negative light, like being super loud and ghetto, or you know what I mean, like just and Asian guys are not portrayed as like nerds or undesirable or sexist or whatever.
Right.
Like they're yeah, you have, I think, one advantage. Sorry, I know I'm talking. I'll get to the next question. One advantage of this channel is that I get to sort of portray two of the most heavily stereotyped groups of people on the planet and portray them in a more positive light than what people are used to seeing. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, okay, so sort of switching gears, not switching gears, but transitioning to the next topic. You are a content creator yourself, and you
Yeah.
have your own YouTube channel, and so I want to ask you about that. Or not ask you, but I want you to take your time and touch as much as you want to about your channel. Sort of just, just plug it, talk about what you do, what is your mission statement, all that stuff.
I mean, kind of like what you're doing with your AMBW channel, right? You're trying to change the narrative for both Asian men and Black women. Like you're saying, like we're so heavily stereotyped. I'm doing something almost similar with mine. I have been starting like the Sea Jersey Couch Talks now on my channel, where I'll just interview a lot of people about their opinions and perspectives on dating, right? So I get like a bunch of different people with like very unique and different perspectives. We have people talking about like should they start an OnlyFans with like their boyfriend. I have people like telling about how like they first met their boyfriend. Like it took them like a couple of months before like they realized like they were actually in love with them. And I have people just like dropping down like the latest gossip, like the sauciest details on hey, what's acceptable and not acceptable in a relationship. Like when should you bounce? What are some red flags? Basically, just trying to like define like what is just basically define like hey, how should you be thinking in a relationship, all of these questions that we've always asked ourselves, but it's good to get like a different sample size from each individual person.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So yeah, well, again, that's a great thing that you're doing with your channel, and again, everyone watching, I will include the link to his YouTube channel on the description of this video. If you're not already, go check it out, go subscribe, all that stuff. I've checked it out, subscribed to it myself, so go out there and support it. It's really great. We need to support more. I hate using this term, but I'm going to use it because it's a very general term. Content creators of color, actors of color in general. If you're not white, we need we need the support, basically. That's kind of another way of looking at it. But
Yeah.
but I also feel like it's supporting actors of color and content creators of color is necessary, because I feel like, for me personally, and this sort of segues into my next topic. I don't think I've ever talked to you about this. I talked to other Asian people about it, but not you specifically. So I feel like out of all the different races, Hispanic, Black, white, Asians are, and this is one stereotype that I think unfortunately is very true, and we need to sort of subvert that, or stop it. Is that Asians are very quiet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not just literally, because I actually do agree with that. Also, unfortunately, it's another issue, but separate issue. But Asians are quiet, and they're quiet when it comes to speaking up about things, right? Speaking
I
up
agree.
about being treated unfairly. Of course, you have different instances like Stop Asian Hate, which are extreme cases of it where people do speak up. But that's, like I said, that's really extreme cases where people kind of have to speak up because they're being killed and being assaulted and all that stuff. So, but when it comes to other issues like representation in the media, and you know what I mean, which is another issue, they're very quiet, and they're not like Blacks and Hispanics who are not afraid to speak up, which is great because we need to be more like them. We need to
We're gonna be
follow
vocal.
their
Yeah.
lead. Yeah, and so I don't know. I mean, I know that maybe that has something to do with the decades old, maybe centuries old stereotype that Asians are more submissive, more meek and quiet and stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. Like, what is your take on that? And how do you think we should go about changing this?
I agree with you, man. That's definitely a thing now that's been long stemmed for many generations, and that's one of the reasons why we've been targeted, like this past 2 years a little bit more heavily, right? people are always like posting up on social media all of these acts of like Asian hate, and it's because they're under the impression, they have the stereotype that we're very like meek and quiet or submissive, we're not going to fight back. And that's true because when our parents, right, they first immigrated over to here to the United States, they had the perspective like, hey, don't try to make too much trouble, like try to fit in, try to like adapt and conform, right, don't like cause any waves, and everything will be okay. Well, some of that has carried over to us in terms of like, hey, we're not gonna speak up when we get bullied, we're not gonna try to fight back, we're just gonna like let it roll over. But I think that the way that we combat all of these, like all of this Asian hate and all of these stereotypes against us is we try to change the narrative, right? We let them know, hey, we're not afraid to speak out anymore. If you see something wrong, like we're gonna stand up for ourselves. And it doesn't mean like we have to be obnoxious or bully anyone else, but we're just trying to change the narrative, trying to subject ourselves properly and let them know, like, hey, this is who we are. Like, we're not gonna back down. We are not afraid to stand up for ourselves. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to say that's just thank you for saying that. And I hope to everybody watching at home, I'm only gonna say something. Like we should definitely follow, example by speaking up more and all that stuff. But like I mean, talk is cheap. Like you can say that, you can believe that, but like Asians really like I've been saying this for a while. Asians really do have a problem with that, and they really do need to get on their asses and get off their asses and just like start standing up for themselves. Because no one else is going to do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, black people stand up for themselves, Hispanic people stand up for themselves, white people definitely stand up for themselves, but Asians definitely do not stand up for themselves unless literally extreme cases. And I do want to stress too that to the Asian guys, I know there's a lot of black women that watch these videos. I'm sure there are some Asian men that watch it as well. So to all the Asian men watching, I'm aware of all these stereotypes. But also, what disturbs me even more is that a lot of Asian guys in general are very complacent, and they're okay with actually a lot of these stereotypes. Like, not judging them as a person or whatever, but just saying like they need to sort of break out of that shell and realize, sort of become more self-aware that yes, they are being stereotyped, that they are being desexualized and emasculated by Hollywood. A lot of them are sort of, I mean, like I said, I could go on all night about that shit, but I won't, because it'll start to become really negative, and I don't want to get into that right now. Okay, so my next question is obviously about, well, like we talked about before the show, is about sort of your kind of more personal life and your dating experiences and all that stuff. I follow you on Instagram and stuff, and so I'm assuming that you are in a relationship right now. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you? So this being the AMBW channel, we deal with a lot of dating, relationship stuff like that. I mean, you've been with us since the beginning, so you know already what it's about and all that stuff. But can you sort of, let's get to know, you behind the actor behind, the camera, when you're off
Oh,
camera,
that,
like
yeah, off camera
let's
me.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
find out, okay, like obviously, so everyone watching at home, this man is a real man. He's not just a character in the short films. So everything that's in the short films is fictional,
Mhm.
but that's why we want to get to know you as the person. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, your romance, dating life experiences, all that stuff, anything you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah. So for me, I've been dating my girlfriend now for just a little bit over 1 year. We've been talking a little bit longer for that. And actually it we were talking for a while. So I was talking to her for 6 months and she put me in the friend zone for 6 entire months before like I eventually won her over. And she was like, you know what? I think I do like you. So that's something that I like to flex out a lot is like, hey, be confident in yourself, right? Focus on you. It's okay to talk to somebody else, and have them, put you in the friend zone, but focus on your goals. And once they understand how confident and sure of yourself that you are, things will work out. But yeah, that's one thing. And my girlfriend is Asian, just like myself. And not that I've only exclusively dated Asian, it just seems to be that sometimes we have a lot more to relate culture wise, right? We have like an understanding of, oh, your parents are very strict, or you came up with the same sort of upbringing that I did. It's a little bit easier to relate. But I don't necessarily, I've dated like I think a lot of different ethnicities before. And I think the thing that I've always loved the most about dating is just you don't necessarily, you have a type, but you can date outside of your type as long as like the personality vibes, and that's something that I've noticed myself.
Yeah, definitely. So sorry to all the ladies that were watching it that left comments like complimenting him and stuff like that. He is not single, but just putting it out there. But no, but you know what? That's really awesome, man. Happy for you. And I just want to say to you that that is not something that I could do. I have a lot of stamina when it comes to dating, relationships, all that stuff. So I'm not gonna go into my own personal relationship status right now. But let's just say that in the past, I have, when it comes to pursuing women, I definitely would not be able to do what you've done. Like
It's
just
hard, yeah.
persist, persist after 6 months, even though you're constantly friend zoned and getting rejected and quote unquote taking L's or whatever, like, you still persisted. I mean, I thought I was persistent, but holy fuck, like that's something, my God.
Yeah, we did
I
it.
exactly. And I just want to say I also have a book that I wrote based on my dating experiences. I'm gonna plug it again because my fucking channel can do whatever the fuck I want. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna also include the link to that book that I wrote. It is available now on smashwords.com, barnesandnoble.com. Just go buy it. Please go buy it so I can do my fucking laundry. And also, it's for men and women. So women can also use it, not just for men. But sorry. So getting back on track. So like I said, I have a book, but in the book, when it comes to my guidelines, dating for stuff like that, I always say avoid being friend zone, right? I
Yeah.
always my method is if the girl is gonna try to friend zone you at the first sign of trouble, run, fucking run, like run like hell, dude, because
Hmm.
you will be wasting your time. That's what I say. That's what I preach to my quote unquote students or whatever, right? In my book,
Right.
is that because you don't want to waste your time, right? And
Oh
obviously
yeah.
things worked out for you, but they worked out for you, and it took like half a year for you to work out.
Oh yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so I know, that's what I say. Don't waste time. But, for you, it seems to work out in your favor. And so, what would your advice be to other guys who are in similar situations who might be basically are friend zoned, right?
Yeah.
Been friend zoned for a while, but they're still into this girl and they don't want to give up hope. What would your advice be to them?
Honestly, it's less about making the other person like your number one goal, making the other person like putting them on a pedestal. Take that time instead to like focus on you, like focus on your hobbies, focus on your social life, focus on your other friend groups, like focus on your personal fitness, right? And elevate your professional life too with your working career. Like the more you focus on yourself, right, the more better things will come to your life. And that's why like you can still talk to the other person if you want, but you don't need to put them as a priority. You need to put yourself as a priority. I think that was what helped for me the most, is like I was able to work so much on myself, right? But I was still talking to her a little bit on the side, that it just ended up working out. And it wasn't like I was actively pursuing her the entire time. I was like just trying to make my life better, and I think she noticed that. And that's when things just started elevating again.
Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, congrats to you again, man. That's something that I would not be able to do. Like if a
Oh yeah.
girlfriend's with me, I don't care how hot or how cute she is or whatever. Like I would just fucking cut that person off basically, for
Oh
lack
yeah,
of
I
a
can
better
see
word. I don't want to turn off the women and say something bad, but let's just say, like, because for me, like, that's just guys just have to do what works for them, right? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, but in general, I would say that I talked about this on another interview, it's like when it comes to love advice, guys get better at love advice than girls do. That is always fundamentally
Yeah,
true. That is
I can
fun.
see
Even
this.
women will say that too. Like, don't come to us. Ask a guy friend. Go to a guy. Ask him. Ask your dad. Ask your brother. Ask your freaking teacher. Like, you know what I mean? Just don't go to a woman. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
guys know what they want.
yes, exactly. And guys are more forward. Women, no. Women are not more forward, and that's one thing else. But I don't know. That's another comment. That's different. But okay. Well, sort of getting to the end of it here almost. Just the last couple of questions. So let's talk about sort of getting back on track of the AMBW topics. So how would you describe your experiences working on the short film so far? We've done two of these short films so far. I'm waiting to see honestly if the reception, to see if I mean, so far the reception to the second one has been good. It's been nothing but positive, and the views are sort of, I'm still trying to figure out the YouTube algorithm, but so far the views aren't bad. The views aren't bad, so maybe, possibly. I never say never, basically. But what has been your experience so far, and what do you enjoy the most about it so far?
Yeah, I really liked it. For myself, I think when we did the first one together, that was like my first big lead role, where I needed to memorize. I think we had like 26 pages, right, Marty? So I'm like, I got this lead role, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta memorize how many lines? And it was my first kissing scene too. I was like, what? So just like a bunch of firsts already marked off the right off the bat. But it's been fun, and my cast, my co-members, we've interacted together on like other projects that I've filmed outside of that. I've done a project with my co-star Kishira. She's awesome, and I've done a project with the other guy too. So it's all been great, man.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and I was gonna say I saw the other project that you did with Kashira. I kept calling her Kashira, and then she corrected me, I think. So yeah, Kashira, shout out to you too. You're all you guys are great to work with. I enjoy it, and so whatever happens in the future, hopefully we'll work again. But I do want to say, yeah, man, it's been a fun time working with you all. Like I said, I honestly have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and when it comes to operating this YouTube channel, I just sort of was just trying to make, to be completely honest here, I was trying to make a little bit of extra money because I was laid off from one of my jobs. I had like more than one job at the start of this year. And starting this year, unfortunately, I got laid off from one of them. So I was like, you know what? Like, I got put on partial unemployment, but like, I was like, what happens when that unemployment runs out, right? And I still, if I don't have, enough money by then, or I don't have enough job or whatever, I need to support myself. So I was like, you know what? Why not just try my hand at YouTube? You know what I mean? And so I know that there is a big demand for this type of content, judging by the view count. I think there definitely is an audience for it, which does translate to money, obviously, to dollar signs. Maybe not like, I'm like balling or anything like that. You know what I mean? Making it rain. I'm not making that much. I'm really not. But just like I said, I'm just starting out, just trying to figure it out. And sort of in starting this YouTube channel, I have met a lot of people such as yourself, not only actors but also just regular people. You know what I mean? Just interviews that I've done interviews with like this. You know what I mean? And I've sort of networked a lot of people. It's really fun. So while I started out for sort of more monetary reasons, like it has sort of grown on me a little bit, and I've met some other YouTubers. I guess I've become like a YouTuber content creator. So that's cool. It's fun. I recommend it for anyone who's interested in doing this. You know what I mean? Just pick a topic that you're passionate about or that you think will make you some money or whatever. Money is important too. So let's not ignore that fact. But
Yeah.
you should also do what you're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, segueing into my last topic here, going back to sort of passions and what we're passionate about and stuff like that. What are your goals for yourself, like when it comes to acting in the future, the next like few years or so, assuming everything, the world is opening back up and everything like that, more, especially when it comes to film and TV and not just independent stuff like this, but just on a broader scale, everything is sort of trying to go back to normal. What are your hopes for yourself in the future?
Dude, you know what? I've had this conversation before, and just so many different things like interests me and catch my eye. It's why, like, number one, I'm like a firefighter, but number two, like I also act on the side. I have my podcast, I have YouTube now. So I'm just like juggling like 5 different things all at one time, and like they're all on fire. I think that maybe in the next 5 years or so, continue progressing with my career at work, like become like the best firefighter I can. And but also to further my acting career. So I want to land a couple more lead roles. I've done stand-up comedy now a couple of times. I really enjoy, like the comedy aspect. That's like something I try to bring on my YouTube channel, just like how goofy and silly of a person I really am, which is very different from like me at work, right? Me at work, I'm very like stern. I'm very, I'm uniform and everything, completely night and day difference between just like this goofy, sillier version of me. So just continuing to do what I love, man. It's the best, dude.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that brings us to the end of this interview. But it felt good, interviewing someone else. So this is the first time I think in 2 months that I've interviewed someone because I've been busy shooting short films and stuff. So, but going forward, everyone watching, I will be trying to do this. I don't know how frequently. I'm gonna try to book as many interviews as I can, and then you'll watch them and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So thank you to my guest. Again, if people want to find you, where can they find you? Where social media handles, all that stuff.
Yeah, guys can go ahead and follow me on IG at c.trizzy. I'm also on YouTube as well at c.trizzy. So that's where I post all of my interviews right there as well. So.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving up your time at your very busy schedule to talk with us tonight. And like I said, we keep in touch, and we look forward to. Oh, basically, I'll just say this: if everyone watching this right now And you've reached the end of the interview. Good job. That's exactly what I need y'all to
Yeah.
watch. Just the whole interview and not
Oh,
just
yeah.
like 1 second or 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever. Just please don't be lazy and watch the whole thing. But I'll also say that if you are interested in seeing a part 3, which you know what I'm talking about, then just let me know in the comments down below. If you don't want to see a part 3, keep it to yourself. But if you do want to see it, then let me know below. And again, thank you very much. Comment, like the fuck out of this video. Like this video. Comment, subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload a video. And check out this guy's YouTube channel too, and any other projects we work on together. But other than that, again, it was a blast interviewing you, and we'll talk to you later. So bye guys. Bye.
All right. Peace out, everyone. Bye.